Welcome back to The Outward Expression. I'm your host, Roman. In our first two episodes, we discussed a bit about the philosophy of this channel, what we're hoping to achieve here, and what we are hoping to achieve basically is to elevate man in his presentation. The philosophy being that the inward disposition is reflected in the outward expression, and that being the case that man is a dignified creature, and along with that comes kind of an obligation to carry that out into the world. In the second episode, we kind of discussed a bit about men's fashion, some of the things that were favorites of mine in my wardrobe, and we're going to carry on with that particular aspect in this episode. What I'm going to present to you is three more suits that are particular favorites of mine and how I've put them together. The first that I have for you tonight is this lovely Ralph Lauren medium weight gray window pane. I guess you'd call this a crepe fabric. It's wool, it's very high quality, it's a lovely suit, and I've chosen to pair this with a white dress shirt. This happens to have French cuffs and a lovely teal tie with a paisley pattern. I'm going to remove the tie and give you a closer look at it. It's really very nicely put together, very nice pattern. Works very well with this particular suit, and this particular tie holds a lovely knot. It also has a very nice hand. Hand is a kind of way of ascertaining the quality of material just based upon its feel in your hand. It's really quite simple. I've also chosen to pair this with a waistcoat and silk braces. This is really appropriate. It's not too formal because of the color and the fabric. This is a window pane pattern. I don't know if the camera is picking this up, but if you have a nice look at it, it's a very subtle pattern, very elegant and classic. This has a bit of a pocket here, which is unusual. I think this is probably one of two suits that I have that have this accessory pocket here and your regular pockets on either side of the jacket. It's one of my favorites. Very good fabric. It hangs very well and fits well through the shoulders. This is appropriate for business or even formal events, that type of thing, weddings, etc. Again, as I had mentioned in the other episode, that I don't necessarily need to have an event to feel as if I should put myself together for the public. I chose another necktie that would go appropriately with that. This particular necktie has a different bit of a pattern on it. It still has the same color scheme in terms of the gray that's picked up in the jacket itself. This tie, again, this is from Italy and holds a very nice knot. And again, the hand for this particular necktie is very good. I'm very particular about the knot. As you notice, I always have, or I try to always have, a very nice, smart dimple directly in the middle of a necktie. A dimple in a necktie, in my estimation, really sets it apart. If my impression of when men tie a necktie, they're rather sloppy about it. They allow it to sag into the collar, and the presentation at this point, which is really the focal point, becomes a bit sloppy, and you have, just kind of loose fabric hanging out. It's kind of off-centered and not altogether smart. So I do always try to look for fabrics, and you develop a sense of how fabrics cooperate with you when you're trying to you know, like I said, make a nice smart knot. And particularly with neckties, hand is important because it kind of finishes the outfit. The suit and the shirt are the palette, and this is, I guess you could call this your signature. Moving on from there, I am going to present you with this lovely Glen plaid double-breasted jacket with a very lovely Giorgio Armani necktie. I've had this tie for many, many years. It's a go-to for me. This is one of my very favorite ties, and it works well with the Glen plaid, because when you look at a Glen plaid, it's a very busy pattern, especially for men's clothes. I'm trying to hope that the camera is picking up on this, that you have this involved plaid pattern. You don't want to busy that up because it's already busy, but with a necktie like this, it's very subtle, very elegant fabric. What you get here is a very polished presentation with a double-breasted jacket. One of the things I find that is with double-breasted jackets, your physique has to be complemented by the jacket. So in other words, if you're a bit full through the middle, the double-breasted jacket may not be a good fit, because they should be worn closed at all times. And if they're tugging at the waistline or there's a bulge in the middle, it's quite obvious, especially in something as light as this gray Glen plaid. So if you want to wear a double-breasted jacket, that may be, again, you give some thought to how it's going to complement your physique. If your physique is toned and athletic, a double-breasted suit is really quite good, because it accents that. It really carries that forward. They're really a bit of a flex, quite frankly. This one, again, for the start, I'm going to pair these off with white dress shirts, just to keep it simple for the time being. We'll move on from there with the Glen plaid, adding any other patterns, colors, or stripes. Maybe a bit much, but this particular suit is all wool, is a very lightweight. It's very appropriate for spring and summer, although I think you could pull this off in the winter, given the appropriate outerwear. In addition to the Giorgio Armani necktie, I wanted to also give an alternative, which is this very nice silk, very subtle pattern. This is a burgundy that goes well. You probably can't tell from the camera, but in the Glen plaid, there is an overlaid shadow plaid of burgundy color, which this picks up on very nicely. So this would be a real good choice for this. And even a lot of times with Glen plaids, you might want to go with just a plain tie that accents something in the jacket itself, particularly if the pattern is bold. This particular Glen plaid is not very bold. It's a kind of very tightly woven pattern, so you can get away with this type of thing. Moving along, let me set this aside. Pardon me. Moving along, once again, I have taken the risk of showing another double-breasted suit. This is a very nice, very lightweight, I want to say a light olive color summer suit. This is a summer weight suit. It's a very lightweight, very plain, but it's very exceedingly elegant. I often, as a matter of fact, this is probably the suit I get the most compliments on, strange as that may seem, because it's very plain, but it really makes an impression when you're out in public, because it's a bit of a statement in terms of the color, the way it fits. This double-breasted jacket, I've paired with just a plain gray waistcoat. I was of the opinion that waistcoats were inappropriate for double-breasted suits for a while, but I have seen other YouTube presenters do carry this off very, very well. So I said I'm going to go ahead and follow that particular lead with this again, because the buttons are gray. The gray waistcoat, very appropriate for this. The weights are similar. I like to keep similar weights in terms of you wouldn't necessarily want to wear a heavy wool coat with a lightweight waistcoat. You want to kind of carry that through and make them a bit similar in weight. This is a favorite tie of mine. It's a nice floral, very playful. And with men's fashion, you don't have a whole lot of places where you can be, what's the word I'm looking for? Playful or fun, but a necktie can always be a point of interest. Again, this particular necktie, silk, floral pattern, very nice hand. We'll go into that a bit more later in another episode. But again, holds a smart knot and works very well with this suit. This is an Italian designer, and I'm very fond of this, as you can probably tell. And with this particular suit, I chose another necktie. Again, I chose a floral because it's kind of a spring summer outfit. And if you'll notice, when I hold this up with the suit itself, you see that the tones carry through very nicely with the jacket color and the rest of the outfit. Whoops, there goes my camera, sorry guys. But I wanted to kind of give you an idea of the place for double-breasted suits. I think they're appropriate in many occasions. They work well. Again, a double-breasted suit, at least in my estimation, if you wear it, you better, it's best to have the frame to carry it properly. Single-breasted suits like this have a little more, they're a little more forgiving. You can get away with a little more in terms of your physique, but again, my estimation, if you're going to wear a double-breasted suit, your shoulders should be developed and broad, and your waistline should correspond, in terms of kind of the shape that the jacket carries. There should be broad shoulders, narrow waist, and not a big midsection, because again, they tend to accentuate that, and I find that it's not a good look. So if you need to get to the gym, get to the gym. If you don't want to get to the gym, maybe think twice about wearing double-breasted suits, because again, they should be worn closed, always closed, even while seated. So again, I'm not particularly tall, so carrying off a double-breasted suit is a bit of a challenge for me, and I'm getting on in age, so the added challenge is keeping my waistline appropriate to my height and weight. So I hope you've learned something from this. And at this point, you're probably wondering if we're going around barefoot. In our next presentation, I'll be showing you a bit about men's footwear, shoes. And we'll go into what's appropriate and what I think looks good with these types of outfits, and we'll pair those up next time. Thank you for joining me. This is the Outward Expression.